live, you are live.
Good morning and welcome to the pre-dawn gloriousness of Djuma Private Game Reserve here in the Sabi Sand, South Africa. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave the Dish on camera today with me, and we are searching for Queen Karula, the dominant female leopard in these parts. And it is an absolutely spectacular winter's morning. It's about 13 degrees Celsius, 55 or 56 Fahrenheit. I'm not quite sure which one. So for us, quite chilly, but the good thing about the cold is the leopards might be on the move. So we're hoping to find Queen Karula. We're checking the southern regions. I know James and Genre here on the other vehicle are heading to the north, looking for lions. And of course we have Kirsten and Louise in our ears. And they live in our ears most of the days. So they'll be feeding through questions to us from you, the viewer. And if you want to know how to send us questions, it's hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or use the email address questions, believe it or not, it is questions, at WildEarthTV. And it is an absolutely spectacular morning, and Dangerous Dave the Dish and myself are very excited to have you on the back of our safari vehicles for a live African safari. Now, if you watch my head and it's craned off to the side, it means I'm reading my morning newspaper. And when I say that, I'm looking for footprints of the various animals, and in this case, particularly the female leopard that has passed or possibly passed through these parts overnight. Now there is an interesting track. It is, well, there's two tracks here actually. There's a female leopard track, but that's quite old. And there's a much more recent track. Let me just have, actually, sorry, before I make a whoopsie, I nearly made a whoopsie. I needed to look at it closely. I nearly lied to you, and that's not very good if I'm lying. Let me just put some light on it. Is my light on? Yes. Okay. Let me show you this, because this is very, very interesting. Now, it's got to be very interesting to get me out of the car, away from my pink hot water bottle, to show you this morning. Dave and I actually both have matching pink hot water bottles this morning. Oh dear, I'm going to just unplug that. It's buried under the scarf I stole from Jamie. Now, Dave, can you see these little tracks here? Yes? Now, very interesting enough, we've got little paw tracks here, and you can see there's some visible claw marks. But the giveaway about what species this is you have a look, it looks like someone's taken a branch and has been dusting the road. Can you see these little lines in the sand, Dave? Maybe I'll move the vehicle a bit closer, and maybe Dave can go straight down. It could be a bit difficult from there, but you need to see the little lines to know what creature it is. Now, there's two creatures that have very similar footprints, but the one has those little lines. Let's try from opposite it. There we go. I think we'll get it there, Dave. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. No. You're looking at my name mark at the moment. So come out a bit. Yep. Come to the right. There. So there we go. You can see the little footprints, and you see all those scrape marks in the sand. Now that told me what creature that is, and what creature could possibly cause such scrape marks in the sand. I think I'm going to let you guys work that out. So that's the first morning quiz. Who can tell me what little mammal made those tracks, and with those very particular little scrape marks next to it? I have to have a morning meeting with Ryan now. So, but you guys think about that, and if you know the answer, questions at WildEarthTV or hashtag Safari Live. Good morning, good sir. Yes, I'm back. It was very, very nice. That's quite a beard. Look, if we're going to get Dave, there we go, zoom on Ryan. Ryan looks colder than I am, and he's got that massive beard, and he's obviously got it for warmth. I am for.
Listen, last night I had Karula's Mantwan there in the Milwaukee. I'm going to head there again and check.
Okay, cool.
But there was no adult.
Oh, yeah. we had tracks of her coming on top of the drag marks of that hyena that stole her impala kill there. And she followed those drag marks, but we lost them around Leadwood somewhere.
Okay, well, if she's going to be chasing me, see, that's fine. I'll go check if she hasn't come back to where that
Cool. Well, good luck.
Shit.
We'll see you for a social occasion one of these evenings.
Short myself is af vanaand, want hy gaan af donderdag.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so they took it from Cheetah, the Mnisi Joncha, and then she followed the Mnisi and Konzo. But that was yesterday morning, so she could be anywhere. Bye! So yeah, that's Ryan from Arathusa. He's the head ranger at Arathusa. He's a very important man. And a very nice man, apart from his quite scary appearance with that beard. So Ryan is also looking for Karula. I think I need to get my quizzes a bit more difficult this morning. Joey and Gail, you are spot on. It is a porcupine. It is the largest rodent in Africa, the southern porcupine, and those little drag marks, of course, made by its quills. Very well done. That's quite impressive. Dave didn't know. No. I think we need a Dave stick. Just tap Dangerous Dave the dish every time he gets something wrong. Now, as I said, it's pre-dawn. The sun hasn't popped over the eastern horizon yet, and it is probably, it's a tough one, but I think pre-dawn and dawn are my favorite time of the day, more so than sunset. Sunsets are incredibly beautiful, but I just really love the smells and the fresh tracks that you find in the early morning. While we continue to meander to the east, looking for tracks of the Queen Karula, let us go see what Commander Bond has been up to for the beginning of this pre-dawn safari.
Good morning, everybody. All we've been doing is trying to stay desperately warm here. I'm told that it's 13 degrees Celsius. This is a patent untruth. I suggest it's probably closer to around 8 degrees Celsius, which is very cold in Fahrenheit as well as it is in Celsius. It's probably about 43 degrees Fahrenheit. You're most welcome on the back of Wendy, this recalcitrant old bat that we are forced to drive around this reserve on. She looks great, but underneath her aging and unfortunately not rusting because its aluminium frame is an engine so deeply irksome and horrible that I'm going to stop insulting her now. We are as live as Brent Smith, so please do talk to us during the course of the next 3 hours. Hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV. Now, we've come along the northern boundary. There were lions over that way at Buffelshoek Dam yesterday. They were chasing beefaloes around. They had the cubs with them there, so that's one port of call. And then, of course, there was the male and the female that Jamie had around here yesterday. And I just want to show you, we couldn't find them last night. And I think that they've murdered something down here. I'm just going to reverse a little bit so that Jandre, who is on camera today, hello Jandre, say hello to everybody, well done. So that Jandre can show you the vultures that are sitting in the tree here. They're quite far from the road, and in Wendy I'm afraid we won't have a signal in there, so I'm just going to show you where those are. It's so deep in the drainage that I suspect that they've killed something small in there. Those vultures have moved in, and they may well still be in here because their tracks don't go south across the, at least north across the boundary. So that's a prospect that we can go and have a look at a little bit later. You will be pleased to know that Wendy is getting an increase in her amperage or whatever it is. She's getting a new amplifier this week, and we're hoping, therefore, that she will have slightly less black screen. The inescapable faults of her engineering, however, cannot be remedied. I'm being so deeply insulting of her, of course, because she's spent so much time the last little while broken down, travelling to and from Johannesburg. She is quite old. She's had to work quite hard. She's still a bat. We're going to start off our search at Buffelshoek Dam, which is not too far around the corner here. I'm going to drive slowly along the road and hopefully see 1 or 2 tracks. There are that these ones are from yesterday, just prior to the great chase. Now, I don't know if any of you were around yesterday. Can you see those tracks at all, Andre?
Your body is.
Why don't I get out of the car instead of being a lazy git? Yesterday, everybody, I'm hoping these are not very fresh. Of course, I might be devoured in front of you.
Good morning,
No, be quiet, sorry. 1 second.
Your door, please, Dan.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Thank you.
Right, can you see here? Can you see here?
Yes.
Right, here are tracks of the female lion. And I'm pretty sure these are from yesterday. Now, I don't know if you were on drive yesterday, and if you weren't, well, you should have been, because Jamie had an amazing sighting of 3 lionesses chasing a buffalo, jumping on its back, and unfortunately for them, not killing it, very fortunately for the buffalo. We don't know where they are now, but this is around about where they were. Now, the one easy way to tell whether this is fresh or not, of course, is the fact that you can see this dark bit here. You see that, Andre?
Yep.
That is dew, it's moisture from the night. It's settled on top of the track sometime during the night. So that's a very obvious way of telling that it isn't fresh. The other way of telling it isn't fresh, of course, is that there are vehicle tracks all over these lion tracks up and down the road. That might be even more obvious, but let's pretend that we were wandering through a deep wilderness where there were no roads. Right, let me get back in the car. It's quite difficult to move with all of this stuff on my body, of course. There we go. And it's doubly difficult, of course, because I can't actually put my fingers into the fingers of the gloves because, well, they're just not very warm, so I have to ball my fists. While I get myself back with my blankie on, let's go across to Brent and find out if he's found anything yet.
I thought I'd just found something, alas, not. Just hyena tracks so far. So we're coming down towards the Mwati River, and there's some quite beautiful scenery popping through there. As you can see, the sun is illuminating the clouds, but it still hasn't quite risen above. And if we listen, isn't it just spectacular? Now, we can hear a golden-tailed woodpecker. Heard some francolin calling earlier. There we go, that very unattractive call is that of a very pretty bird, the golden-tailed woodpecker. Grey go-away birds in the distance. It's a go-away bird alarm call, but it's an alarm call for a predatory bird, not for a mammal. Wow! Wow! And in the distance we heard Ryan start up. He was doing the same thing as us, just listening carefully. Oh, yes. Oh, do you hear that? Yeah, so Dave, swing around. Now, it is so quiet in the dawn, I can actually hear the francolins digging in the leaf litter. So zoom where you are, Dave. A little bit to the left. There we go, center frame. There we go, a little crested francolin. Look how puffed up it is from the cold. And no one's hopping. It's done itself an injury. I've actually seen a one-legged francolin before. I wonder if this is a one-legged francolin. Come on, hop. It's got an injury to its one foot, and that's probably why we heard it. It was making more noise than they normally do. And look how puffed up it is. It's cold. I wonder what could have injured a franklin's leg. Normally, those type of injuries happen trying to escape a predator of sorts. And, of course, it successfully evaded the predator this time, but now that it's on one leg, it might not be so lucky the next time. Oh, are we causing a traffic jam? There you go, let's go around. Hoppa! Now, right here is a very interesting thing. X-Ranger, you're spot on. Where did Dangerous Dave get the extra nickname, The Dish? Did he drop a dish, or do the ladies think he's alright? Well, it's because the ladies think he's alright. So now, Dave, I'm taking control of your camera. There we go. Oh no, he's trying to make himself look pretty. There we go, there's Dangerous Dave the Dish. Look at the dimples, ladies. I know you ladies love dimples. There we go, that's why he's called the Dish. The ladies think he's a little bit better than alright. Okay, so we've seen, I've now managed to really make a mess of this here thingy. Let's do that. Okay, so we've stopped at this particular termite mound many times, and at the beginning of winter we used to stop here and you would see steam rising out of this termite mound. And it's got so cold, and remember, termites like to keep their abode at about 32 degrees Celsius, which is the optimum temperature for growing fungus. And you can see the dark coloration here. And if I touch it, it's actually still a little bit moist. So the termites have actually closed this chimney because of the winter to keep the inside at that optimum temperature. That's amazing. Oh, it's still so soft and moist. Now, there's still a few little holes, so there's still air coming in, but if I look around the whole massive termitaria, they've closed that hole, they've closed this hole, they've closed that hole. So they actually only have really tiny little breather holes open, like these ones at the moment. So tiny breather holes, like that. And they've closed all their main vents to keep all that glorious warmth in. Now, I have seen hornbills, especially on new workings like this, it's a bit early for them, they'll come break it open to get the heat, and then they'll sit over it. Ooh, and get warm. Well, it's not quite cold enough for that this morning. It's going to sort of drop below 10 degrees C, I reckon, before the hornbills start. Oh, and while we've been sitting talking nonsense, the sun has actually popped over the horizon. We're going to look at it through a torchwood tree at the moment. A Balanites morgami. So we're going to keep perusing the south, and while we do that, Commander Bond has made his way all the way to the Buffalo's Hook waterhole. Let's go see what's out and about there.
Nothing is out and about, I'm afraid, here, everybody. It is deathly quiet, but that sometimes means that there's death around, and that could be in the form of lions. This is not too far, of course, from where Jamie had those lionesses yesterday chasing the beefaloes, so we're going to look around Buffalo's Hook Dam for a little while and just see what we can find. It's a rather beautiful morning, as you can see. There's the sun about to peep up over the horizon. Lots of doves flying into that tree there, and not much in the water, you can see. And there was a grey heron that took offence to us disturbing his morning reverie, and he's flown off going wah, wah. They have very unattractive calls to the herons. So we're just going to sit here for a little while and see what we can hear, and then I'm going to go and look around the northern section of the dam and see if we can't find something over there, because I wonder if those little cubbies aren't stashed somewhere in there, and then I can go and make more embarrassing sounds at them, like I did during our, I don't know if you saw our clip of from Fireside Chat yesterday evening, but Brent and I made extremely unmanly sounds the first time we saw those little lion cubs. And I'm going to hopefully avoid doing that again. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing until I saw the video clip. We became totally beside ourselves. And there, everybody, comes the Earth's very own sun, our very own star that doth warm our faces during the course of the day. Isn't that nice? I might have to take another rank average photograph. Can't stop myself.
Gonzo for one Renga.
Let's just try and decide or describe to you what we can hear. It's a very quiet, subdued sort of morning chorus, which is completely normal for this time of the year. There's a bearded woodpecker, that's what you can hear there. Okay. And then it was making its territorial tapping. It finds a nice hollow piece of knobthorn and hammers away on that. And in the background, one or two grey go-away birds, a few yellow-fronted canaries swizzling away in the background. But always very subdued in the winter time. Hello Brian, you say is my sense of smell sharper in the early morning? I'm just taking a picture of the sun for my mother, you know how she loves them. Brian, I don't think my sense of smell is sharper, no. I think that the air is definitely fresher though. Would you like to see my photograph, Andre?
Yes.
It's very horrible, but I mean I quite like it. My mother will think it's nice. She thinks everything I do is nice.
James, you have vastly improved.
Thank you very much, Andre. That's very kind of you. Brian, I don't think my sense of smell is sharper, but I definitely think that the air is fresher, which makes for easier smelling. I think definitely in the morning time when the air is, I don't know, I'm not sure what physical property of the air makes it easier to smell things in the morning, but yes, I do think it's easier to smell things now, possibly because in the middle of the day there's heat, and so any kind of chemicals in the air that we would be smelling are probably rising up before they reach our noses. I have found that living out here in the bush has made my sense of smell that much more keen. Let's just go a little bit forward. Genre, on this tambuti tree here landed a brown-hooded kingfisher, which is not a common thing for us to see. They're not uncommon here, but I think he's gone, I'm afraid. He goes, pity for you, pity for you. No, I don't see him there. Right, our little plan now, our temporary plan, or our sort of immediate plan, is to go round down there. We're going to just check around the northern end of the dam and see if we can't find something in those bushes there. I didn't see any tracks crossing north over the boundary, but I didn't go all the way to the eastern edge. If we don't find anything there, we'll go back around to the sort of far eastern section. It's a glorious, glorious morning. After yesterday's rather sort of foul, blustery, grey conditions, this is a real relief. Put my gloves back on. There's a lion-coloured bush, which I nearly stopped to show you. Let's see what we've got down here now. It could be anywhere here, obviously. We need to watch the road for the tracks. We need to listen out for the telltale sound of lion cubs playing. There's some Birchall starlings there. There they are. And James Richard, you say most viewers as well made some very unmanly sounds when you first saw those little lion cubs. I know, it was quite amazing watching that little clip that we had for Fireside Chat yesterday, and how Jamie did make a sort of slight giggling sound, and then she held it together beautifully. And Brent and I were absolutely useless, just gurgling, just trying to find one or two termites, no doubt, in the middle of that dung. That's the Birchall starling, everybody, one of 3 glossy starlings we get here. The others being the Cape glossy and the greater blue-eared glossy. I'm not going to show you the difference now because I think we should get on so we can find some lions. Tracks. Lions going this way.
Yes.
Well, that's a spot of luck, as long as they're not going the other way. So they will come and down and have a drink here, even though this water is, well, I mean, you wouldn't put your face anywhere near it. But for lions and hyenas and leopards and even buffalo, they can handle this kind of fairly rancid water, and we often have questions, how on earth are they able to drink it? Because we as human beings have become very used to drinking very pure water. And the simple answer is that, of course, our bellies are just not used to drinking bacteria-rich water, whereas animals out here are. And there are many parts of the world where you can't get very clean water, and people survive just fine eating. There are cub tracks here. People survive just fine drinking fairly rancid water, as long as your tummy is used to it. You know, we're not going to go bashing through the bushes here. We're just going to have a quick look around, and then we'll go back out onto the road. Well, this is round about where we thought they were yesterday. Let's just drive up a little bit around through here. It's always nice driving at this speed at this time of the morning, of course, because it is much warmer to drive slowly like this as opposed to herring along where it is very freezing. Alright, we're just going to have a little fossick around here. Let's go and get an update from Brent and find out what he's managed to find himself.
So unfortunately, apart from enjoying my tea immensely, man, can't do too much. I just heard from the guys to the south of us that Karula's tracks with the cubs are heading east, so parallel to where we are now, but I think... Oh, sorry, I've knocked my speaking device off. There we go. That should be a bit better. There we go. And so she might pop out somewhere here, but I don't think so, unfortunately. I think she is to the south. And we had one male lion track going across our southern boundary as well. Other than that, just a lot of the little things of the evening. Lots of civet tracks and white-tailed mongoose and porcupine and honey badger. All the little critters. Here we have... Oh, no, they all decided to fly away. But they're making lots of noise, the babblers. Let me just go forward slightly. And at the back, there we go, Dave's got them there. You can see them fluttering around. Arrow-marked babblers. And a fork-tailed drongo. He's a member of the flycatcher family. We can hear a woodpecker pecking wood. How much wood could a woodpecker peck if a woodpecker could peck wood? I'm going to see if we can find said woodpecker. Sounds like one of the smaller species, maybe a cardinal, just from the noise it's making. Gaze to see if I can work out where the woodpecker was pecking. I can hear him. Ah, got him. Okay, I'm just going to move forward for you, Dave. Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so left, down, right at the base of that tree. It's not what I thought it was. Oh, this is a good one. Look at that. Oh, woodpeckers have the most amazing physiological adaptations to be able to bash their head incessantly at wood. There's basically a shock absorber at the end of its beak. Otherwise it would literally rattle its bane loose. Now, who can tell me which woodpecker this is now? This is a good one for the birders. It's not one of the smaller woodpeckers that I initially thought. It's just pecking in some relatively... Ooh, ooh, ooh! Look at that! Did you see that? Did you see his tongue come out? He's trying to get probably a wood borer beetle out of that hole it's been pecking. And they do use their tongue to sort of roll around in there to try grab the little borer larvae to take out. Now they've also got incredible hearing, so it's probably heard a borer larvae inside there, and that's what's causing it to peck at that particular spot. Look at that long pink tongue of its got. So I'm going to let you guys identify this woodpecker, and I'm actually going to keep watching it for a while. But while we do that, James has got another creature with an incredibly long tongue. Oh, sorry, no, you stuck with me, so you don't have the incredibly long tongue creature. You're going to stick with this one. Well, as I said, if you know this woodpecker, let me know, and do that by sending me an email, questions@WildEarthTV, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So now James is back with that incredibly long-tongued creature, so let's go have a look what it is.
There was a giraffe, everybody, but it's a very deeply irksome giraffe. It doesn't seem to want to see us. So I'm going to just quickly turn here. And it's a roundabout where I'd sort of hoped to find the lions. And if you find a giraffe, they're normally very good at spotting lions. So I don't think there are any lions around here. Let's turn around and we'll just go through here. We'll get a lovely picture of him in that drainage line. We might lose our picture. If you do, I do apologize in advance. But please blame Wendy. He's a beautiful giraffe, large, dark. He's very handsome.
So Dave and I are actually just waiting here to see a kill. I'm going to see if a woodpecker manages to pull one of these borer larvae out of the variable bush willow it's feeding on. Oh, is that a good hole there? Look how it's using it, chipping away like you would with if you had a little mallet, making the hole bigger. See, look at that. Look how it's removing it and widening the hole it wants to get into. Like a little axe. And it is not the woodpecker we heard calling earlier. It's not a golden-tailed woodpecker. It is another woodpecker, another one of the bigger species. So well done, Robin. It is indeed a bearded woodpecker. Now you can tell it's a bearded woodpecker by the very prominent black markings on its face. So on the side of the face and under the chin. Now a lot of the woodpecker species have similar markings, but a bearded woodpecker is the only one that really has the black on the side of the face. Golden-tailed woodpecker male will have red under its face. Look at him, he's really working on that particular hole. Come on, catch it. I mean, look how much that hole has grown just since we've been watching. Oh, oh. No, not quite yet. Oh, oh. Did he get it? Did he get it? Either it was a very small one, we couldn't see it, or there was no success. I'm going to let that woodpecker keep pecking wood, and we'll have a look. Oh, look at that. So, really working that variable bush willow. Probably doing it a bit of a favour, removing all those wood borer beetles. It is an incredibly gorgeous bird. Okay, I'm heading up the tree now. Now, like you can actually see those incredible claws on that woodpecker's foot. How they're able to hang on the wood like they do. And those, oh, off it goes. Those nails are almost longer than the toes themselves, giving them incredible grip. Now, Dave, let's have a look at what I was talking about here. So there's the golden-tailed woodpecker. You can see it's got the red below, and so if I swipe, there we go. There's the bearded woodpecker. You see those black facial markings on the side, very distinct, very, very distinct compared to the other woodpecker species. Okay, so we're going to keep maneuvering onto, I think, the eastern boundary. It sounds like there's no updates from Cheetah Plains, so we're not going to dash off just down there just yet. Hi, Virginia. Now, Virginia is asking us, all the way from Kentucky, when do the migratory bird species come back, and which is the first? So normally around November, we might get some a little bit earlier. Now, one of the first, Now, one of the first to come back is actually not one of the more conspicuous ones, and it's quite often a few of the cuckoo species, and also the paradise flycatchers, also one of the ones, but they're not as obvious as sort of the woodlands and the carmine woodlands kingfisher, carmine bee-eater, European rollers, European bee-eater, but it's normally the paradise flycatchers. Oh, speaking of a flycatcher. Now, okay, on that. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, he's still, okay, come down. Oh, there we go. He's just behind the branch. Oh, let's just move forward a bit. Hopefully it doesn't fly away. And that is one of the smallest flycatchers we get. Is he still there, Dave? You got him? Oh, no, that's a different bird. Sorry, that's a fork-tailed drongo. The one oh, there he goes there. there. Oh, in the beautiful light as well. Okay, you got him? Zoom. Onto that little bush, up a bit. Zoom, center frame. A little bit to the right. Up a little bit. There he is, hopping. There we go. A little chin spot batis. Oh, off it went. Didn't give us the longest view. But one of the smallest flycatcher species we've got, with one of the most distinct calls. Now, if anyone can remember their children's nursery rhymes, it's our friend again. It's probably the same woodpecker. Come out again. Oh, he's gone. But it was a bearded woodpecker, and it looked to be a male, so almost definitely the same one we've just been watching. So on average, you have a pair about every 400 hectares of bearded woodpeckers. But as we're talking about that little chin spot batis, one of the most distinct calls out here, and I said, if you remember your nurse or your children's songs, the call goes. Dave, do you know what that says? No, Dave. 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. Okay, so we've now finally made it to the woods, our eastern edge of traverse, and we've had such a wonderful time going slowly and looking at all the little things this morning. I think we're going to keep doing that, and you know, when you look for the little things, sometimes the big things just appear. While we do that, let's go see how Commander Bond is faring in the west.
We had some leopard tracks going up and down this road, but I don't know how fresh they were, and they seem to be territorial markings, so I'm not going to try and find those. No further lion tracks coming across the boundary. We did see another chap from Buffalo's Hook coming this way, so I don't think that they've crossed north out of the reserve, which is great news, and so we'll head further south once we get to the next road that we can turn south on. It's rather good news, really, I think. And then, of course, I did hear, as you were linking, I heard Brent Leo Smith attempting to whistle the call of the chin spot batis. Now, he and many others will tell you that it is the 3 blind mice. I've always found that a poor description, but that might be by musical training. It always grates me when I hear it, because 3 blind mice, of course, is each tone is a tone apart, right? 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. Whereas a chin spot batis, well, the notes are just much closer together, and it's more. You hear the difference, Andre? Yes, never mind. Go ahead, Bernie. Bernie's also driving up and down here. There's some tracks there. And I've been coming up and down, up and down. Copy. Thanks, Bern. I'm not sure that's true. Felicity in New Zealand, you say, are animals able to interpret each other's tracks in the same way that we are? No, I don't think so. I don't, and this is an interesting question. We've been having quite a few discussions about this sort of thing. I don't think that animals are necessarily able to follow each other's tracks at all from sight, but they can definitely do it from smell. And the best example, of course, is to track a dog that you might use, track a dog that you might use to find a criminal, for example. A criminal that's been running along, and you may well find that a dog can follow the scent of that criminal. And in the same way, I think you'll find that lions follow each other, and they follow other animals, and leopards certainly find wild dogs that way, I know that for sure. But I don't think that they can see each other's tracks necessarily. I'm not sure why I say that. It would seem... the thing with human tracking, with our tracking of animals, is that it's very much a deductive process. So it's a process of working things out and assessing different shapes and that sort of thing. And I'm just not sure that animals, A, need to do that, and B, necessarily have the cognitive powers to be able to do that. So, Felicity, I'm going to say no. I think it's largely from smell and probably from hearing as well. Now, we've come down the eastern track that goes towards Beefelshoek Dam. I have a nasty suspicion these lions are still in this very thick block over here. And that will be extremely difficult to get a vehicle into, but we might be lucky and just find them lying on the road. Watch your head here, everybody. The aerial, and so far we've managed to maintain picture for more than 5 seconds. That's excellent. Long may that last. Jean-Louis, there's a little crested francolin there. There are a few of them. We're just going to have a listen here while we look at the crested francolins. Oh, Joey in Australia, you ask a very nice question while we're looking at these crested francolins and listening to the wonderful call of the white-browed scrub robin going. Very nice. Joey, you say, after the great wildebeest migration in East Africa, what is the greatest migration of animals? What's the second greatest? Believe it or not, it's quite possible that the wildebeest migration of East Africa is not the greatest migration of animals in Africa. Now, there are unconfirmed reports of more than 2 million cob, white-eared cob I think they're called, running across the Sudan. They have got an enormous, in South Sudan there's an enormous kind of inland delta to access. I'm not sure how much of that you got, everyone, but South Sudan, big inland delta called the Sud. And the Sud apparently has these cob migrating through and over it in massive, massive numbers. But because A, it's very inaccessible, and B, going to the Sudan is, well, it's an extreme sport, really. You don't go there unless you've got a special forces unit with you. Because of that, nobody really knows how true these reports are. So it's quite possible, Joey, that the second greatest migration in Africa is the wildebeest migration, where 2 million wildebeest migrate across the plains of East Africa on a yearly basis, following the rain and therefore the grass. But it is possible that there's an even bigger one of white-eared, I think it's white-eared cob, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll have a look. But they're sort of, I mean, they look a little bit like a waterbuck, I guess, like a red waterbuck, like a lechwe. I'll find you a picture as soon as we get back to Beefelshoek Dam. I found no further tracks through here. Anyway, time will tell, everyone, time will tell. Nice question that, Joey. Animal migrations, of course, are a fascinating thing. And we used to get them here, of course. We used to get wildebeest migrating to and from this area when there were fewer people around and the rivers ran more annually up in the north, so around the Timbavati, and perennially down in the south here. And there used to be apparently a massive dust cloud. Every year you'd see this huge dust cloud of thousands, not hundreds of thousands and millions of wildebeest like you get in East Africa, but certainly thousands of wildebeest would migrate from the Sabi Sand area here up into the Timbavati. And they don't do that no more. Some blue waxbills calling here, of course, with Jean-Ray operating this very small lens. I don't think we're going to see them. There's just quite a few birds calling. There, Jean-Ray, we've got some white-crested helmet shrikes up in that silver cluster leaf tree. There they are. Did you hear that? It is the chin spot batis. There we go. Anna Marie, you want to know about the prolonged drought and its effect on the bird life here. Has it had an effect? Not yet. Will it? Yes, it quite possibly will. As we go, it's the same as with the mammals. As we go into the dry season, this is normal, but of course this looks like a September landscape. It doesn't look like a July landscape, which means that when we get to September, the real business end of the dry season, that's when the animals are going to start to suffer, and the birds are included in that. Rhonda, did you hear the difference there between 3 blind mice and that call? This one's going... Now, nowhere have I heard 3 blind mice. No. No, no, no. I pity the child of the ornithologist that goes to school singing 3 blind mice to the tone of the Battis. Claire, I'm sorry, I missed your question. My earpiece popped out of my ear. It's back in now. Oh, Claire, you want to know if we have any sunbirds here? Claire, we do have sunbirds here. We have the white-bellied sunbird, most common. We have the Morocco sunbird, less common. I will show you pictures of these again once we get to the dam. And we have collared sunbird, very pretty, yellow birds. And then we have also... I'm leaving one out. You can sometimes find amethyst sunbird here, and then very seldom, because we don't really get aloes in this area, but if we did get aloes, you would find things like the scarlet-breasted sunbird, scarlet-chested, sunbird, astounding looking bird, with a black body and a very beautiful scarlet chest. Let me just pull up here. I don't see any further lion tracks. We'll just have a little bit of a listen, and I'll show you the pictures of the sunbirds. Let's stop over here. Underneath the shade of the torchwood tree. Sounds like a story, doesn't it, Chandra? Yes. Right, we're back at the dam. Not much going on here. I'll quickly show you a picture of these birdies. Sunbird, S for sunbird. Sunbird 410. Right, there they are. So the ones we get here, the white-bellied, very pretty. The collared, this very pretty yellow one there. Not the other ones on that page. There's this scarlet-chested, magnificent creature. It's possible that you could get an amethyst or black sunbird here. I've never seen one here, but there's no reason you shouldn't really get them here. And then the Morocco is this lovely iridescent bird. Really beautiful. So those are the ones we get here. And then let me quickly try and find you the cob. For cob. See if I can find it in this book. Won't take too long, everybody. Be patient, please. Please be patient with me. I can't find one. Maybe it's with a K. This is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed, everyone. I'm sorry. I will find it. There it is, cob. White-eared. Ha, I was correct. Just couldn't spell it. 274. Yes, there he is. He is actually related to the waterbuck. He's the same. There's the waterbuck. He's the same genus. So the cob is this thing here. That's him at the top. And it's in those great numbers that they migrate across the south of Sudan, across the Sud. Right. There are some Egyptian geese that are very cross with each other. They're having a spat, a family spat. He and she not in agreement over the quality of the food being provided. He is upset that she is happy to stay around here He says that the algae is poor here. She says he's a fussy old git. He says, don't you dare turn your back on me. She says, I'll turn my back on you if I want. Yes, now it's getting, I can't really follow what's going on. They're having a very severe squabble. These two are not very good parents, everyone. They had 7 goslings around here just before it dried up in the end of November, and unfortunately they lost all 7 of them. They're also not very good Egyptian geese, because Egyptian geese are supposed to be vegans, of course. They're not supposed to eat meat. These two eat fish liberally. I've seen them swimming around here catching little tilapia and devouring them very happily. That's it, don't fight, it's not worth it, everyone. Well done. That's it. Let peace reign. Well done. See, sometimes you just need to get it out and then feel better. Right, nothing going on at this dam. Let's go and see if we can find some lions elsewhere. So there were the freshest tracks we've seen this morning of female lions coming down this way along the road towards the top there. I suspect they've gone into the north there. They may have gone down to the south and maybe towards where those cubs were being kept. Of course, we know the cubs were just north of the dam yesterday. So we might have to go back to where we had those original tracks and see if they aren't around there. If I don't find any further tracks on this road, in fact, I think we're probably going to go back. There's also real dearth of other mammal life in this particular area, so maybe about this and they've booked out towards some other less predator-rich environs. Alright, let's go across to Brent. Apparently our signal is not so good here.
Okay, exciting news. And I'm just trying to figure out, and I've actually figured out, I've been for quite a lengthy little walk, but I'm going to show you what I've been looking for and looking at. Now, aren't these just beautiful? There they are, going that way. Queen Karula. By the size of the tracks, I'm pretty confident it is Karula. And they're actually heading through the bush here towards where James is. So I'm going to get hold of him on the game drive radio and ask him to check Gwari Pan Road, because I think that's where she's going to pop out if she's moved out of this big block here. If we get no luck, then I'm going to go for a little walk a little later and see if I can find her on foot. All my paraphernalia, blankets and whatnot. And let's get hold of James. James. James, if you're still around Gwari Pan, Buffelshoek Dam, could you check Gwari Pan Road as tracks of this female leopard cut sort of due north into the block from Drakensberg towards that drainage system off Gwari Pan. Okay, copy, thanks. Okay, so exciting. James is actually following lion tracks, so that's fine. We'll follow these ones all by ourselves then. Now, being Karula, she could easily zip back onto the road, and we know she likes to hunt in this area. So let's have a look. Now that the cubs are a bit bigger and she can leave them alone for longer, she's starting to stretch out into areas she hasn't been spending too much time in the last while, which is of course very exciting for us because a lot of those areas are on Djuma. So her last tracks were going straight north in here, And there's a road that runs on the other side, so that's what we're going to check. And of course we got our ears open for any form of alarm calls. Hi, Lev Lev's wondering, are there any animals that will eat the dung and scat that carpet the bush? Yes, quite a lot of animals, and it all depends on the dung. Quite often when we see the different bird species or little things like mongoose scratching in the dung, she's back. Very typical Queen Karula. Back on the road. Okay. And quite often the termites will come up from underneath and start eating the dung. And then the other creatures... Oh dear, this is so typical. Okay, she's back. No, she isn't. Yes, she is. It's very typical. She zigs and zags, jigs and jags. And with dung that's not decomposed fully, animals that have bad digestive systems, or not bad, but not very effective digestive, like elephants, lots of different creatures will eat the dung there. And from the carnivore dung, lion and hyena and whatnot are quite often eaten by hooded vultures and other small carnivores if they can find some meat in there. I mean, these tracks are so fresh, I sort of half expect to see her up ahead of us. Let's see where she went now. There's a hyena. Where have you gone, madame? Did you take a shortcut through here? Is the next question. Are those leopard or hyena on your side there? It is leopard. So here we go. Doop, 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 doop. And now where? Did she cross straight across the road? No. Of course, she went all the way here and turned around and went the opposite direction. Which is not the best news for us, because we are not too far away from our eastern boundary. There go the tracks. Whoops. Okay. There they are, yeah. Almost, these tracks are so fresh, I almost expect to see her any second. Okay, there go the tracks on the left-hand side, and now on the right-hand side. And now they're coming, oh no, this is now. Now they're coming back this way. Let me just jump out quickly and have a proper look quickly. So these tracks are, you hear that, Dave? Sounds like some elephants quite far away. Elephants. Okay, the ones going this way are the most fresh. You just noticed this was a little bit loose, so let me just tighten that quickly. Okay. Now, this is very typical of the Queen of Djuma to change direction a lot. Specifically when she's hunting, not so much when she's scent marking, but when she is hunting, she does change her direction quite a lot. Okay, they're still there. Still there. Okay, there we go, she's still there. Just getting a bit of extra height. Oh, we got a spider web. Whoop. And she's gone. And she's back. There she is. And now she's gone. Will she come back? That is the question. Now she's back. And she's gone. And she's back. Okay, now fingers crossed she didn't go that way. So she must either go right or left, not straight. Let's have a look. Always just double check that she's not watching you when you jump out to go look for her. That has happened to me a few times. Last place I saw tracks was just on this side down there. I don't see any tracks. No tracks. No tracks. No tracks. Male leopard tracks going that way, but they're not as fresh. I know those are from yesterday. What's that over there? Now, if she's got cubs down in the south, she might zigzag and then loop back towards the cubs while she's hunting. Let's just have a quick look over here. The flying Karula. And I know I saw a track just behind the vehicle. That's me. 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Dave's going to follow me around because I'm making life difficult for him, I know. But I just need to see where that last track was. Okay. Dum, 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 dum. Gone. Okay. Now, which way did you go, Queen Karula? She likes to do this to us from time to time. Is that a track there? Quite hard ground. Did she sneak up here? Oh, this is going to take a while to work out, but what I'm going to do in the meantime is just check 100 meters that way, and if nothing, 100 meters that way, and she's more than likely to pop out in one of the directions. It is a beautiful morning, and wouldn't it be nice to have the Queen of Djuma in this gorgeous morning light? Okay, now my head's going to be hung off the side, trying to make sure I don't miss any tracks. Hi Kyle. Kyle says, hasn't seen Karula in a while. It'd be so nice to see her again. I agree. I mean, we had a brief visual of her in the Cubs a 2 nights ago. But it wasn't long enough. I agree, Kyle. I'd love to spend some time with the Queen. Come on, where are the tracks? We'll check as far as that big marula there. keep checking in the bush because she could be walking parallel to the road. She often does that. So no sign of her coming out on the road this way. Okay, time to turn around. Let's make sure. They are really fresh. I mean, definitely from this morning. Crystal clear tracks. Till, of course, when she decides to disappear. And so while I try to figure out what's happening with the Queen, let's go see how James's tracking of the other cats is going.
Well, we found tracks, everyone. I went down, she came down here, she had a drink, she or many of she came down, had a drink, and then they've headed off down through there. I think those are the freshest tracks. They are all the way up and down here, and it's difficult to tell which is which. Anyway, they've gone down through that very nasty block there. Maybe they've turned south onto Nyala Road. Let's go and have a look there. We might be lucky, but there'll be something else for us to look at regardless. Unfortunately, this vehicle is going to give us a little trouble through this section. Not much signal here. So I think we'll have one last look around here, and if it's no good, then we're going to carry on if we can find at least some signal. And I don't know if Brent told you earlier today, but Mvula was around Sydney's dam, which is unfortunately not where we can go, but with a female. Fascinating. Don't know who she was. Maybe they're mating. It would be very unusual for an unterritorial male to be mating, but it would be fascinating to see. Of course, unusual simply because we don't know that it happens. Did Kirsten speak there? Sorry, I've got half a game drive in my ear and half not. Right, let's just drive along here. We'll see if we're lucky. We might not be. We might be. And if we do lose signal, I apologize in advance. We'll go to eventually leave this area, I think, and go and find somewhere where we can get a more reliable picture to you. We might even consider heading to Arathusa. Many hyena tracks. Oh, I did go to the hyena den early this morning to see if the hyena was there. She isn't. There wasn't anyone there. It might be worth going back there to check a little bit later. There are no lion tracks here. Now, my suspicion was that she'd come down here. James, Richard, a nice question from you about, or a hypothetical one about they have the instinct to migrate. I think they absolutely would. It's the same species, it's just a different subspecies of wildebeest, and our wildebeest down here certainly used to migrate all the time. So yes, I've got no doubt that they would probably migrate there and survive quite successfully. sorry about this, everybody. Perhaps something has pushed over the Gauri repeater, just like the elephants have pushed over this marula tree. Our technical team is rushing around madly trying to fix it, and we'll be back with you as soon as we can.
I still don't know what's going on here. I mean, I cannot find another track after that last one. Until right now. Sneaky Karula. Oh, you just walked just off the road here. Okay, now there's the last track. Now where do you go from here? Bum bum bum. No! But I didn't see any tracks here. And someone else has driven here this morning. That is why we missed those tracks. Aha. Oh dear. Into Torchwood, but we've noticed how she zigged and zagged, so we're going to head east. She might definitely come back onto Djuma. If not on the sunrise safari, almost certainly on the sunset safari. There's always a chance. Okay. Hopefully, we're going to find a hunting parallel to Cheetah cut line. Now I'm going to try and show you what I'm looking at. Now you can see how difficult tracking can get, and I'm going to show you what Karula's track looks like on slightly harder ground. Okay, let's go. Let's find that little piece of grass there, Dave. Let me see if it's the same one. Yes. Now come across. There we go. I'm going to show you with my finger there. So that's still on relatively soft ground, but you can see how difficult it can be to spot those. And the next track, and I'm going to show you now. I've lost it for a second. There we go. So just above that one, Dave. There. There you go. You can see that's a bit of a clearer one. But she is hunting, so she's looping in and out of the area. And that's why quite often we need to get out and be on foot, because from the car it's near impossible to see those tracks sometimes. Now, hi Boaty. Boaty would like to know, is Tingana Karula's mate, or is it her son? No, he's not related to Karula anyway. He does mate with Karula, but Karula will have multiple mates. Female leopards will mate with multiple males when they're in estrus. So he is one of her mates, but he is the dominant male for actually almost all of her territory. So you could probably call him the mate. Let me just get on the radio quickly. Just let the guys know if there's anyone working down in Torchwood that they might possibly find her. But I'm still quite confident she might pop back out onto Djuma. So we're going to keep checking here, and while we do that, let's go see how James is doing.
Well, we're doing okay, I suppose, everybody. Sorry about that lack of signal. I think we were talking about the wildebeest migration and whether or not our chaps would, or our wildebeest would manage there, and the answer is yes, we think certainly they would. And I mean, they're only a different subspecies because they've been separated from each other, two separate populations that have just diverged very slightly from each other. They'd certainly interbreed very successfully with the brindled gnu, which you find down in East Africa. Now, we're on Hyena Road. The tracks of the lions are heading across this way. We'll see if we can't pick them up crossing this road, or ideally lying on the road with their cubs in the golden dawn sunlight. Just doesn't tend to work out that often like that, does it, Jandre? No. Many civet tracks, many old lion tracks. Now, of course, one can see a civet track and think, ooh, there's a baby lion track. There's a male lion track here. And not very fresh. Alas. Alas and alack. So this is going to be our last pass for the lions, everyone, because our signal has been so too dodgy around here. Otherwise, we'll go and see what else we can find. We'll go and have a look on Arathusa and find out. I've yet to meet Zara, by the way. So there's an elephant up ahead, which is marvelous. We're going to stop and look at that. But apparently the Nkuhuma Pride, Brent has managed to get an update, has just killed a buffalo at the dam. So yes, that is the direction in which they're heading, but really a few miles from here, probably about, well, I don't know, 5 miles from here. They moved a long way last night. I'm sure those cubs are still right near the dam. Let's stop and look at these elephants. What would you say? Do you think it's an Asiatic elephant?
I think a crossbreed for the new species.
Yes. Now the reason I say that, of course, is because she's very clearly lost half her ear. You see that, everyone? Bad luck. I wonder where she lost it. Probably tore it, and then there was probably an infection, and that would have resulted in, I don't know, maybe it got tore off further. It may also have been torn off. It doesn't look like a fresh wound at all. Could have been torn off when she was a calf. That's most likely. Actually, it looks like there's no sort of fresh wound. There's definitely no obvious tear. I don't remember seeing this cow before. And they're all eating the silver cluster leaf now, which they wouldn't, you know, in the summertime, and trying to get at the bark, trying to avoid too many of the leaves. Although as I say that, she takes a great big mouthful of leaves. So maybe I'm talking nonsense. I'm very clearly talking nonsense. Quite tannin rich. And I suppose this time of the year, just before they die, these leaves, the tannins are that much less. Well, I'm glad we managed to find something today. It's good to see an elephant or two. And she really does look most Asiatic with her small ear. And to those of you who don't know, of course, Asian elephants are very different from ours, in so much as they have much smaller ears, and they have much smaller ears because they don't need their ears nearly so much for keeping themselves cool. And our elephants have to have ears to keep themselves cool. Simply because they live in the shade like an Asiatic elephant does.
Got a problem with your mic?
Got a problem with mine. Like that.
Just take a battery.
Just check the microphone here. Can you not hear me?
Put you on top mic and then I'll chat.
Sorry everybody. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. There we go. I pushed the mute button by mistake. I think we're going to sit with these elephants, and I think rather than waste too much time, let's send Brent across to the lions at Red Dam, and he can get there quickly and rusty with some reliable signal, and we'll stay here with the elephants. That's really quite exciting. I also just want to tell Bernie, because I think Bernie, who's just behind us from Buffelshoek, has been looking for the lions. Bernie, apparently Nkuhuma Pride is on Arathusa now. Look at her long eyelashes. Yeah, that's a very old injury on the back of her ear there, you can see. but she's also looking quite skinny, and I think that's purely a function of this drought that we're having. She's not looking particularly healthy, I don't think. Anna Marie, you say you were watching the elephant cow's temper tantrum yesterday, and for those of you who don't know what she's referring to, we had a clip during the fireside chat of an elephant cow that Jamie witnessed in the morning attacking a youngster. And attacking the youngster, well, a young bull, probably 8 or 9 years old, she reckoned it was, and this young elephant was pushed to the floor and then kind of held down and pinioned there by a very angry elephant cow. We were postulating as to why and how that should have happened. And Anna Marie, you say you were so astounded by it, you watched it 7 times. It was amazing to see. I don't think it's that unusual, as Brent was saying. You know, it's quite possible that it happens all the time, but we just don't see it. And we know that older elephants play a huge role in disciplining the younger ones. And so I think what you probably find is that older one was just disciplining a young bull who'd perhaps been sassing her, or perhaps been sort of less than polite. This is a lovely sighting, and they're so relaxed. We're often asked, shouldn't we be a little bit more careful around elephants, or aren't we worried about elephants? And yes, of course you've got to be careful around elephants, but as long as you're not over complacent and you watch their body language, you're normally okay. And so we're just watching them carefully. Certainly when we arrived, that earless calf wasn't that pleased to see us. Kyle, nice one from you. You interested in whether that sort of torn off ear is going to affect her hearing. Kyle, I'd say almost certainly not. They hear through the hole. Genre, if you can just get in on her ear there, if you don't mind. That's where they hear from. You can see the hole, much the same as our ears, sort of are open onto the outside with a flap at the back. And so even if you cut that in half, I don't think it'll make a huge difference. Of course, her ability to sense sound from different directions, I suppose, would change. So I imagine those ears, quite apart from being very effective air conditioning for the blood that flows to the brain, probably very good at sort of directing the sound. So if you don't want to know what I mean, go outside, not right now of course, but go outside after this drive and cup your ears with your hands. So cup your hands behind your ears, and you will notice that you can directionalize the sound, so you can pick up sound coming from whatever direction your hands are cupped towards much more effectively than you can just by listening. And I imagine elephants open their ears out in the same way, and so what we consider sort of very subtle, just sort of ear flapping, is probably them sort of channeling the direction of sound towards their ears so that they can hear what's going on. So from that perspective, I suppose it would absolutely affect their hearing. Thank you for that, Kyle. It's a really good question. I didn't think about that. I only thought about the fanning motion. Beautiful, calm, easy sighting. You can hear them hardly moving. She's big. She's a fully grown cow. She's probably about 4.5 tons. She really does have a seriously Asiatic look about her, though, with that. Sorry, Susie, I'm afraid I slightly missed your question there. Kirst, can you go again with it? I thought I had it. Susie, you say with all the veins in the ear, would they bleed heavily when it was torn because they've got so many veins in their ears? I don't... Yeah, I suppose they must do. But I think you probably find it heals very quickly, because I'm sure that, you know, the body is sort of adapted to deal with that. He's very... She's very close to us, so we're going to watch her body language. She seems to be relatively comfortable with us. Well, she's eating Albizia harvii, which elephants love. You know, in areas where there aren't elephants, it grows into enormous trees. But out here, not a chance. Not with all the elephants around. And you can see how massively important they are to the ecology of this area. She's so calm. And of course, I've said this before, but you know, 20 years ago, or 10 years ago even, you didn't go into an elephant sighting like this unless you had a definite forward escape route, unless you could really make sure that you could get away if something went awry. And while we're very careful still, always watching their behavior, they're just so much more confiding, so much less likely to get upset with us than they were sort of 10 years ago. They've become much, much more habituated to vehicles and our voices and the smells of the cars. And obviously these ones like to be on TV, don't they, Jean-Andre?
Yeah.
Yes, TV elephants. Very little going in the way of birds. And it's really warming up quite nicely now as you sit here in the sun. And I'm afraid I've forgotten that word. There was a wonderful, wonderful word of the warmth of the sun on a cold winter's morning. And it was apricity, that's right. Thank you, Kirsten. Apricity. So I'm really enjoying the sense of apricity that has enveloped me. Are you, Jean-Andre? Are you enjoying the apricity? No, you see, I can hear Jean-Andre sighing with joyful apricitousness. Sneak slightly forward. And Shannon, you'll find